Hey guys, hope you're doing alright. Today we have mission 3, our first boss and our first real challenge so far. Our time requirement for this mission is 5 minutes and the orb requirement is 550. The first time I tried to S-rank this mission, the orb requirement was throwing me for a loop because even after collecting the orbs from the bridge and the boss orbs, I was still coming up short. It turns out that you basically have to grab the orbs at the top of the gate before the bridge breaks, unless you can beat Phantom without taking more than half a health bar of damage. You'll want to be using Stinger to speed yourself across most of the walking sections, since 5 minutes isn't a lot of time. You'll notice that much like how DmD forces you to approach fights differently, S-ranking will again force you to change that style further. Fights that you could previously stall out or use as cheap strategy for, you now have to face head-on because of the time and orb constraints. The Sargasso section shouldn't stress you out too much. You can group and kill 2 at a time with the grenade launcher, and you don't lose health that fast. I would, however, recommend restarting if you take 2 or more bites, since the last Sargasso only drops a small green orb before the boss. And at last we have Phantom. Funnily enough, he's tied with Urizen for having the most encounters in the series, topping out at 5 in hard mode. Despite that, this is the only real time you'll be fighting him properly on your S-rank run, and you'll see why later. Considering he's the first boss of the franchise, you should be fairly familiar with his attacks, and he doesn't gain any new ones for his first fight on DmD. That doesn't mean he's an easy fight though. I play pretty solid for the first half of the fight, then make 2 mistakes and spend the rest of the fight on a tickle away from death. Again, another demonstration that you don't have to be perfect to S-rank around a mission. Phantom's attacks aren't that hard to dodge on their own, but as you can see, he only needs to hit you 3 times to end the fight, and he has ample opportunity to do so with how much health he has. I was using the most high damage aggressive strategy and still only barely finished the fight in time. Speaking of, for this fight you're going to mainly want to hit and run. Phantom is constantly moving around and has a brief invulnerability phase after you hit him, so you can't continuously wail on him. I build up some Devil Trigger with the grenade launcher, then do a shallow jump into Inferno near his head and back. Inferno is the best move to use as it can hit both his head and back simultaneously, and hits multiple times in a single use, bypassing his invulnerability frames. Rolling Blaze also saves my life multiple times. Jumping in DMC also gives you invulnerability frames until the peak of your jump. Couple that with Rolling Blaze's constant active hitbox and you can safely parry Phantom's jumps with your own. Phantom's fireball is pretty reactable and even parryable with Alistair. You can also blow it up in his mouth before he fires it as I do with the grenade launcher a few times. But towards the end of the fight, namely his red health phase, he fires 2 with enough delay to catch the vulnerable part of your jump if you're not expecting it. His lava pillars come out in 3 sets of 2, and he's vulnerable just before and just after he ends them. Unless you've already committed to an action, these are easy enough to dodge. Simply run without doubling back on yourself. He'll usually use them when you can't reach you with anything else, but this attack is long, which eats away at the time which you have to fight him. His melee and stinger attack are both parryable with Rolling Blaze, and leave him wide open after they finish. The jump attack is the deadliest thing he has. It does about 3/4 of a health bar on its own, and you can easily follow it up whilst you're recovering from it. Rolling Blaze saves my life more times than I can count by parrying it. The last thing to talk about is the arena. It's halfway between cramped and an open space. The central path gives you enough space to run away, but you're running into the camera, which is always a bad idea in this game. The pillars can either be your worst nightmare or your savior depending on how you use them. They'll block both Phantoms and your attacks sometimes. I say sometimes because if you or Phantom attack at the right angle with the right move, it can actually go through the pillars, and other times it just won't. Inferno pretty reliably goes through the pillars, but you can't hit both Phantom's head and back through them. Phantom's own fireballs can hit you if you're close enough, but that also means a lot of the time he'll spend time firing at you behind a pillar where he can't hit you. I don't need to tell you about the camera. It's a real piece of work in this fight. You can be going around a corner and have your controls completely reversed without warning. You can be firing from safety and Phantom will jump at you from off screen. You can be taunting and the lava pillars will appear out of nowhere because there's very little sound cue. The only real, somewhat reliable workaround is to stay close to Phantom. Not so close that he can hit you, but not far away enough so that if the camera changes you're in a bad position. Phantom's pathing is kind of weird. He will target the player with his attacks and sometimes he'll move towards you, but other times he'll randomly crawl into a corner or just jump away. This fight serves as a small taste for what's to come, so enjoy it whilst you can. I'll see you guys next time in Mission 4 where we take on Nello Angelo. Have a good day and thanks for tuning in.